What is the most scary experience you have had? This is one of the most scary experiences I've had that I still can't explain rationally. I was home alone one night as a teen, parents were at a family dinner, and my older sis was most likely with friends or her boyfriend. Anyway, it was late and I was getting ready for bed. I was coming out of the bathroom when I suddenly heard this high-pitched giggle coming from my parents' bedroom. There was also a light coming from the gap under the door where I was certain the light was off. Thinking maybe the laughing was coming from my parents' radio, I go into their bedroom to investigate. The alarm clock is unplugged. Weirded out, I nope back out the room and slam the door behind me. Then I heard the same laughter again. To put you in the picture, just imagine a hysterical laughter of someone completely out of their mind, as that is the only way I can describe it. It didn't even sound fully like how a person would laugh either. If the laughter was bad enough, I then, to my horror, see a shadow appear in the lit gap under the door, as if someone was standing on the other side. Needless to say, I screamed and ran out the house and waited for about half an hour in the garden for my family to get home. I explained what had happened obviously, but other than my family being a bit freaked out, nothing much else was said. I still bring it up to this day and still feel chills thinking of it. A few other odd things happened in our family home, but nothing as scary as that. It's over 90 years old, so no doubt it has a history we don't know of. Paranormal history. I'm not sure, but that laughter didn't seem natural to me. It almost felt inhuman. Back in 5, I was taking a cross-country trip with a friend from the East Coast to the West Coast. We stopped in New Orleans for the night, walked about 1 mile to the bar and got drunk. Here's where it gets scary. When we left the bar, we got turned around and wound up walking around New Orleans and getting more and more lost. Keep in mind, this was way before everyone had GPS on their phone and most business were closed. Sometime about 3 a.m. I really had to poop and saw a gas station up ahead. It was one of those gas stations where the bathroom was outside and behind the gas station. Sketchy enough in the middle of the day, but terrifying at 3 a.m. My friend went inside to ask for directions while I made my way to the bathroom. About 2 minutes in, I heard some noises coming from outside. Sounded like a bunch of guys. Sure enough, the door to the bathroom slams open and a bunch of gangster-type dudes come in. I can't see what's going on because I'm in the stall, but there's lots of yelling. I finished wiping and flushed, and that's when the yelling stopped. It was at this point I thought, oh no, they know I'm here. I opened the stall door to see 4 big black guys standing over another dude who was covering his head with his hands and kneeling on the ground. He looked pretty beat up. I didn't see a gun or anything, but I was staring at them staring at me. So here I am, a 22-year-old, and 5'7" drunk white guy 10 feet from the door, but I'm blocked in by 5 guys staring at me. Maybe it was the alcohol, but I was surprising pretty calm throughout the whole thing. I just looked past them and at the door and said something along the lines of, I'm just gonna slide by you real quick, and made my way to the door. They were probably just as shocked as I was because no one stopped me or said anything to me. They just kinda stared at me like I was a talking dog. When I made it outside, I made a beeline to the front where my friend was still inside. I yelled, we gotta go, and told the clerk behind the bulletproof glass that he needed to call the cops because something was about to go down in the bathroom. We took off running into the night in the direction the clerk had told my friend, and we eventually made it back to the hotel about 20 minutes later. The next few hours in the hotel, I stared out the window thinking somehow those guys were going to find me. Around 10, my friend woke up and we checked out. I finally fell asleep in the car when we were about half an hour outside on New Orleans. A friend and I were checking out our new college town. We came to a bridge over the river and left the road to look down the bank toward the water. We stepped onto a slab of concrete to get a better look. The slab started to tip toward the steep drop and we had to jump backward onto the slab to keep from plummeting 60 feet to the river below. I was scared of heights for a while after that. Last summer, I witnessed my house burned in one day due to a wildfire, destroying everything I ever had and everything I've owned. After 8 months of traveling and getting better from this shit, I started dating a girl I kinda knew from high school. After some months, she made me feel better than I ever felt in my whole life. She was really exceptional from every other person in my life. So as it was natural, I fell in love. This scares me the most. Life was pretty simple before I felt anything like that. I'm really happy when we are together, but pretty depressed when we are apart. And every time we can't talk much, I get even more depressed and scared to the point I go numb and don't feel anything at all. This is something that really scares me. I always fear that one of these times I might never feel like that again. I might lose that feeling, or do something to lose her. Sometimes I wish I never asked her out so I wouldn't know how it is to feel that way. I have two. 1. Finding out I have the breast cancer gene. I have mutations in my body that make me a candidate for breast cancer in my 30 seconds. It runs on both my family's sides. Found this out because my mom had to get tested after she found a lump in her right breast. Not cancer, but my grandma on dad's side survived it. 2. Finding out my brother was in a coma. He got drunk and his bio mom didn't take the keys to his four-wheeler. He drove and hit a rock and the thing landed on him. He had to be resuscitated 2 times and he has memory issues now. All because his bio mom wanted to be cool.